1 second while I put my mask on for you, okay? So hi there, my name is Dr. B, or you can call me Dr. Max, whatever you prefer. I apologize if I'm looking a little unprofessional for today. You picked a wonderful day to come on in today. We actually unfortunately had a power outage, including a lot of call-offs today. So I actually got called in, so I'm not in my normal attire. Yeah. So no, we actually don't have any backup generators since it's not an emergency clinic. It's just like an urgent care type situation. So if you do have something that is needing to be done, funnily enough, urgently, I actually recommend going to the ER. No, it can be handled here. Perfect. Then I'll get you taken care of. Don't worry about a thing, okay? So, did you sign your consent to treatment forms? Perfect, perfect, perfect. So, I'm gonna go ahead and sanitize my hands. We are gonna do things a little differently, just because, again, we did have a power outage. So again, I apologize for the inconvenience. So I'm gonna grab your information in a minute. We're gonna go ahead and test or take your temperature, okay? So go ahead, it's just gonna be over your forehead here. Okay, good temperature on average. That's what we're looking for. See what mine is. 98.2. We're just a degree off from each other. It's pretty cool. Okay. So, I'm also going to take your pulse and find all my equipment here. I'm also going to take your blood pressure. Now again, we normally have a machine that hooks up to the wall to do this, but because our power is out, unfortunately, we're gonna be doing these. So I'm gonna go ahead and get you set up for your blood pressure, and then we'll put your pulse thing on, okay? So. Go ahead and keep your arm slack, and we're gonna put it over on your upper arm, okay? Yep, just gonna put your arm through. Good, keep it slack. Get you all up in there. Okay. So then on your other arm, on your other hand, I'm just slip your finger through. If I can get this open, sorry. Great, and I'll turn that on. It will think about your pulse, and we're gonna go ahead and get started with blood pressure here. Okay, great. Oops. Okay. I'm gonna take it one more time, just because it's not inflating correctly, unfortunately. There it goes. Right now it doesn't feel great. Alrighty. Good job. Alright, and your pulse, it's a little low, but I can tell that you're obviously not feeling very good. You're tired. Yeah. So it can just mean that you're in a pretty relaxed state, things like that. Okay, so I'm gonna get my computer out now. Now I can hear how you're sounding. Congestion. Do you get allergies? It's kind of a time for allergies, unfortunately. No, not normally. Have you been taking anything like an antihistamine or anything like that? You take Claritin. Okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna get some basic information from you, okay? So your name and date of birth. It's a very unique name. I like that. And date of birth. skip ahead really quick so I don't forget your temperature. And then your pulse. And then your blood pressure, which was good, by the way. Okay. So is this like visit for work, regarding work? Like, are you gonna need a work excuse, or is it like workman comp, anything like that? Just a work excuse. Okay. And where do you work? Oh, just right across the street. Nice. Do you like it over there? No. Fair enough. It's just a lot of work. Oh, really? That's no fun. So sorry about that. And what's the phone number? Sorry, we don't really need it. It's just more for insurance purposes and things like that. All right, and do you have insurance? And what's the name of the company? Okay, and is that through your work? And do you know your group ID and stuff like off the top of your head? You have the card. I'll grab that before you leave then, okay? All right. And then what's your social security? And your personal phone number. Hold on. Sorry, I had to get to the next line. And then do you have a family doctor? Do you need any recommendations for a family doctor? If you're looking for somebody who specializes in that type of care, you're probably gonna have to go more into the city, which is unfortunate because that is a bit of a drive, I know, but very much worth it. I actually go up there, and they do take your insurance because we have the same insurance, funnily enough. Yeah, I can give you their phone number before you leave. Just remind me. Great. So, but no family doctor currently. Okay. So what are we in for today? You'd like a COVID and flu test, which is smart from how we're sounding. Yeah. So the good thing about the COVID or flu test, the way we do them here, is it's the same test, so you don't have to get swabbed twice. Thank God, right? Have you had a COVID test before? You have? Yeah, no fun. So we'll go ahead and do that. You've done your consent to treat. Do you take any daily medications that I should know about? You do? Okay, what's the first one? And do you know, like, the dosage? You do? Okay, great. And what about the next one? And dosage for that one by chance? You're not sure? Okay, no worries. So when you start a newer medication, normally they start you lower. If it's, I'm guessing it's milligrams. Yeah. 5 or 10 is normally the base, like the start. Normally it's 10, but if, oh, you got it lowered. So it's probably, I don't want to assume, so we're just going to say we don't know. That shouldn't affect anything, though. It's a normal daily medication. All right, any drugs or alcohol usage or smoking. It's not my job to report you or anything. I just need to know so I don't prescribe you anything that's going to, counteract that. Does that make sense? No? Okay. And then are you sexually active or on any birth control, anything like that? Decline to answer? Okay, that's fine. Unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at in the world, isn't it? Alrighty, so now, lastly, for our questionnaire is our uncomfortable scale. So, like, 1 being, this sucks, but I can very much continue on my day, just don't feel very good. And then to 10, where you're on the floor crying for your mommy and you want to stop existing. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, so that's all that I'm gonna need from you there. So I'm going to sanitize once again. So you are sounding pretty rough. Does your throat feel like raw or anything? Where are they? I'm also gonna put some gloves on here. Throat is raw. Have you been coughing up anything? Have you thrown up at all? Just feeling like nauseous, but you haven't thrown up. Okay. Haven't thrown up, but you're feeling nauseous. Have you ever had strep throat before? You have. This this feel like any of the past times you've had strep throat, perhaps? Because I'm going to say, not that it doesn't sound like COVID or flu, it definitely could be. Don't get me wrong. But it also sounding like possibly strep. Just from how we're explaining it. I mean, do you have like any other symptoms of COVID? Obviously, you know, other than the coughing and congestion and the nausea. Okay. Okay, for sure. Do we still have tonsils? We do. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and check your ears. Just very common. Okay. So I have this flashlight. This is what it's gonna look like. Okay. So. Okay, looks good. Other side. You know, I had the worst family doctor when I was a child. Hated that man. I went to him up till I was a teenager even. And what he would do to patients is when he'd check their ears, he'd go onto one side and be like, oh, excuse me, can you cover your other ear, please? It's too bright. And you know, when a doctor or somebody of authority tells you to do something, you're gonna do it, right? And I do it, and I'd fall for it every time. And so every time I check somebody's ears, I think about saying it, but I remember how much I hated it. Hated it. So your ears are looking fine. So now I want you to kind of take down your mask and stick your tongue out and say ah, and I'm gonna get a look at your throat and see what I can see down there. If we're, you know, if our tonsils are inflamed, things like that, okay? And I know it's not fun to do the ah, so I'll do it with you. We can harmonize, we can sound good, but it just helps me see down your throat and it helps your tongue flatten, all right? So go ahead and stick out your tongue. I'm gonna flatten it down here and go ah. Oh, there we go, good. Okay, so yes, definitely looking raw, definitely looking inflamed. So I am going to recommend a strep test, but we won't test for strep if you're positive for COVID or flu. Make sense? Sounds good, sounds good. Okay, so you are looking a little raw, but I'm also going to listen to your lungs really quick. So this is cold, and I'm also going to be just slightly like touching like above, just to let you know. Okay, so I'm going to go behind, reach around behind you and touch this to your back, okay, and listen to you breathe. Okay, so right there. Okay, so go ahead and just breathe normally. Okay, and I want you to take a really big deep breath in. So I'm going to breathe in and breathe in with me, okay? So breathe in. Now we're going to hold it, and now we're going to breathe out very slowly. So, we're going to do that again. Glass full. All right, so breathe in. Hold it, and breathe out. Okay, so I'm going to come up front around your chest. Okay, just breathe normally. Okay, and I'm going to go a little bit lower down here by your rib cage. So, I don't know if you're going to test positive for COVID or not. I know you are having symptoms, but I'm not really hearing anything that indicates anything upper respiratory. But again, could be wrong. So, we're going to go ahead and swab you, and we'll see how that goes, okay? So, we have the COVID swabs right here. Let me get everything ready for you. 1 second. So, our COVID tests normally take, give or so, 10 minutes. Now, normally if you're positive, you are going to test positive before that 10 minutes is up. It's not uncommon for the positive to show up at the 10-minute mark. It does happen, but realistically, if you're positive, you know, you are going to test positive, you know. 1 second here. Trying to get you. Okay, so keep your mask down, and I want you to keep your back straight and your head straight. Try not to move. Try not to move at all. If you need to sit on your hands, go ahead. I hate COVID tests. Like, I have to sit on my hands because I just want to push the person away. Totally get it, but I don't want to hurt you. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you these napkins. Okay. And what I want you to do is once I take the swab out of your nose, I want you to blow your nose as hard as possible, because that can actually help not only dislodge some of your congestion up there, but also help it feel less like burning sensation after I pull the swab out. Do you have a nostril that you prefer me to? Nope. Okay. Both very stuffed up until they get you. So go ahead, take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out, and we're gonna just get right in there. Yeah, I know. Real quick, a little further. Yeah, we're done. Okay. And go ahead, blow your nose. Get that extra off. All right, you can go ahead and put your mask up. I know, I get tears in my eyes every time. So I'm gonna go plug this in the machine, and we'll see if you have flu or COVID. If you're positive, we'll go ahead and write your work excuse. Now, due to the CDC's new proceedings, it's not 2 weeks anymore. I think it's 5 days. I'll double check that for you. Now, depending on what your work wants you to do, that's your works, but we're gonna give you 5 days. Okay, so we did the 10-minute wait. You are negative for COVID and you are negative for flu. So we're gonna go ahead and test you for strep, okay? Great. So go ahead and bring your mask down and stick your tongue out and go, ah. You don't like these either? Used to get strep a lot as a kid. Do you have like a gag reflex? Me too. This is how I get rid of them for when I have to take strep tests, okay? So you're gonna relax and throw your shoulders back, okay, right? And you're gonna take your hand, and you're gonna put your thumb like in your, like the center, and you're gonna wrap your fingers around it, and you're gonna set it down like near your legs, and you're gonna squeeze on your thumb, and really, really squeeze, like, you know what I mean? You're gonna think about that. I promise you're not gonna gag. It's still probably gonna feel gross, but you're not gonna gag, I promise you, okay? So go ahead and try it out. I promise you, it works like every time. All right, so stick your tongue out, go ah, and we're gonna do a quick swab. Just right around. All done. And look, you didn't even gag. Nothing. Told you so. So I'm gonna go send this in test. It should be about 5 minutes or so, really quick wait, and we'll come back and we'll see what we're doing, okay? All right, so I am back. You are negative for strep, you're negative for COVID, and you're negative for flu. Now, obviously, just by looking at you, you were unwell. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you some cough drops. Take as many as you want. I'm gonna take these gloves off really quick. Actually, kind of around my mouth. That's the one thing I don't like about gloves is you assume that everything on gloves is sterile, so then you don't even like wash your hands very often, things like that. As someone who works with gloves all the time, I actually prefer somebody to like just have clean hands rather than gloves. But and I also have some medication for you. So I know you said you were feeling very nauseous. So this is Zofran. And I want you to take one of these every time that you feel nauseous, and maximum two a day, okay? So what you're gonna do to take them, there is a little instructional guide on there, but what you're gonna do is when you're feeling very nauseous, you're gonna take them out of the little blisters here, and it's a very small little pill, and you're not gonna swallow it like a normal pill. You're gonna stick it underneath your tongue, and you're gonna let it dissolve. I personally don't think that they taste very bad. I think they taste like a odd candy, personally. Does not mean you can have a bunch, but it should help with the nausea and make you feel a little bit better, less sick in general, like you're gonna puke or anything. And then I also brought some medicine, though. This is gonna be for your throat, help alleviate that soreness and rawness, and hopefully your cough as well. And I'm also gonna encourage you to keep taking that antihistamine that you said that you have been taking. And you're gonna take a couple milliliters of this a day. But I also wanted to say, since you did test negative for everything, that does not mean that you don't, have something wrong. So I am going to write an excuse for you today. I'm also going to give you the next 2 days of work off, because what I'm also going to be sending you home with is an at-home COVID test, so you don't have to come back in and get tested again. Sometimes people don't test positive right away, even though they're symptomatic. I had that happen with me. I actually didn't test positive for COVID till after I felt better, weirdly enough. So I'm going to go ahead, have you wait 3 days and test yourself again. Now, say you test positive on this, I want you to give me a call and we will write you a further work excuse saying that you do have COVID. Because right now we're treating you like you do have COVID, but you just didn't test positive for it, so you need a quarantine. Because I've been seeing a lot of cases where they're symptomatic but not testing positive, or you most likely have a strain that we are just not testing for. Because COVID tests, we're only testing the main strains that we are currently aware of. That doesn't mean that you don't have COVID, it just means you don't have these specific strains. And does that make sense? It's just the same thing like as flu tests and flu vaccines and things like that. It's against the most common flu strains. Make sense? Great. So we are going to do that. So I want you to stay home. I want you to get plenty of rest. Take these medications. Take that antihistamine that you were talking about till you feel better. If you start feeling any worse, I will encourage you to go to the ER and see what they recommend. This is just what I would recommend, is continue taking the antihistamine. Take these so you feel a little bit better. It should hurry up anything. So it's like if it's not COVID or anything, this will take care of that. And if it is COVID, it should alleviate some of those symptoms, but unfortunately, I mean, it's just COVID. Make sense? Great. So I think that is everything. I'm going to go ahead and give these to you. Thank you for coming in today and being so patient. I appreciate that. And we'll go ahead and write up your work excuse and get you out of here, okay? So go ahead up front. And we do have some people up front now that came in while you were waiting on your test results. So they're going to go ahead and write your work excuse, and I will sign off on it. And I hope that you start feeling better